Pathetic, embarrassing, putrid. Leafs Talk. I'm JD Bunkis. It's Justin Bourne, Sam McKee. You can follow the show on Spotify and on Apple and on Amazon Music now, too. I think I just noticed that. You can leave a thumbs up on YouTube if you want. I'm guessing that we won't get many tonight. There will probably be a loaded comment section, though. This was bad. This was a bad. I opened up my show this morning saying that, hey, this isn't a must win because the series is technically not over if you lose. But that's not really the message that I wanted the Maple Leafs to receive today, was that they were like, oh,
Free pass.
We don't have to win this one, fellas. Sammy, I'll start with you.
So today on Real Kipper and Bourne, we had a long discussion in our first block, which included me being hopeful multiple different times, which is just so stupid.
Yeah.
But Kipper brought up the fact that this was a fork in the road moment for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I, for one, would like to take that fork and stab it into my eyeballs so I never have to watch this core play in another big game. Because, oh my God, what did I just watch? Like, you cannot do that. Like, you can, like I said after game 5 against Ottawa, you can lose. There's a world where you can lose this game and we don't have to do this tone of a Leafs talk, where we can have a normal conversation about a hard-fought game where they potentially were in it, they go over it, whatever. But that is unacceptable for all the people that paid to go to that game, the prices, everything, whatever you want to say. I wish I could sit here and say I was surprised, boys. That's the heartbreaking part.
That's actually, I'm glad that you used that word surprise there, bud, because I was surprised. And all I could think was, do you know how bad you guys had to play for me to be surprised?
Right. That's so good, JD, because I was surprised too. I didn't think it was gonna. I didn't think one of the options on the table was that severity of bad. I think the hardest part of coming to grips with it all, as someone who, by and large, is a defender of elite talents coming through eventually, is that, like, maybe it'll get better in game 6 and they'll find it. But like, the sample size is so large in these sort of moments that you can conclude they can't will it. They can't choose in a big game to say your best, my best, fight to the death, ours will be better. They cannot do it. Yeah, some games the game will unfold in the way that breaks their way. They'll get some bounces. And by the way, when I say I'm talking Matthews and Marner. Willie Nylander's their only hope for a goal. John Tavares has 5 goals in 10 games. He's working his tail off. I mean, Matthews and Marner, they cannot will them a win the way that sometimes McDavid and Draisaitl just say, we're just going to get us one. No one else needs to play good. These two can't do that.
Honestly, Borny, I think that for me, like, I'm going to save some bullets tonight simply because there are games remaining, right? Like, technically, there's still a series to be played. And, you know, I just tweeted that these guys have 2 elimination games potentially in front of them to avoid cementing their legacy, right?
Because I do think they can win the series still, and I know I'm a minority on that, but anyway.
Well, I think, of course, they can. Tonight didn't really inspire any hope. The scary part, though, is that I would say that I more deeply believe is that even if they do find a way to win this series, I don't think it's going to be the 2 guys that you just mentioned willing this team and putting them on their backs and kicking in the teeth of the Panthers and going, hey, you know we had a bad game 5, but we're not going to do it. You had an opportunity in this game to go and shove it down Florida's throat. You absolutely knew, as the core players of this team and Matthews and Marner, how imperative the start was going to be for your group. You saw victories on home ice with good starts from your group. You know how the crowd was going to react as soon as you went down a goal when it's the ghost factory. Again, no blame to the fans whatsoever. I don't even know how some of them could stay till the very end. Like, I was like, you guys have no place to go? Like, you got no homes? You had to mortgage them to be able to afford these tickets? Like, I don't know what you're still doing.
Go back to your shanties.
But when you put together a period like that first period, where here's the numbers. They were out-attempted 11-1. They were outshot 6-0. And they outscored 1-0 as a line in that first period. they weren't just like, hey, the David Kampf line of try to kill the clock. They were getting caved in. They were getting pumped. They got scored on. They were lifeless. They did nothing. And even if they come back and were to win this series, and even if those guys were to do something positive, I don't know how any general manager in hockey would look at that first period and say, yeah, that doesn't scare me to my very core when talking about having either of those two guys on my team and trying to win a championship.
Yeah, I just, it's really well said. And not to like look too far ahead to game 6 here, because we're talking about game 5, but you know, the thought of them winning the series potentially, you know, there are 2 very high profile free agents on this team, and the way that the fan base is going to react to this loss and the way that everybody is going to feel after this, it'd be really interesting to see what the Marner sort of feel in that game is, in terms of just like staying with, like, do they want this? That's what I want to know. Like, do Matthews and Marner want to continue this?
Do they look like they want it?
Do they? That's what I mean.
Do they look like they want it? Because
I watch it tonight, and it's just, at some point, this has to make you mad. How does this not make you mad? I see Scott Lawton out there, and he's, poor guy, perfect tip top corner, 2-0. Like, geez, like, of all the guys I could pick on the team to have that happen to, he might be my last pick. Perfect tip,
great otherwise.
Tip, but like, he's cross-checking guys. He's in the fight. Like, what would it do for the team to see Austin Matthews crash Bobrovsky and just get into a scrum, and just like, it just never comes. The best shift of the game they had, they were down 6-1, and they were running into guys, and it's like, they look desperate. It's like, what is wrong with you? Or do you not have any pride? Do you not care? Like, how can you not be pissed off about this? That's what drives me the most crazy. Like, just feel angry. Look angry. It's the same 10,000-yard stare on the bench when they pan over to them. It's just the same thing over and over. Yeah. I don't get it.
So I started writing my article on the game with like 14 minutes left in the third period, because whatever, right?
Yes.
Well, like, nothing could have happened after that where I'd have been like, oh, I missed, whatever.
Would have been a pretty surprising rewrite there, Borny. Would have been a pretty surprising rewrite.
Well, at least you were able to use some of that time productively, is what I would say, rather than just being me, who was staring at the TV, just like mumbling like a lunatic to himself, being like,
"Got to tell you, boys, missed the 6th goal. I was watching the Jays for a sec. Missed 6th goal. Yeah, sorry. Boys.
I probably have. I'm not even joking. I think I have like 13 to 15 nasty tweets that I left in the drafts that I'm just kind of sitting on. Like, that's all I was doing. So, Bourne, you were writing something productive, an article. I was writing nasty tweets.
Well, my article's kind of nasty too. It's going to need a morning edit. But like, sitting there watching that, Sam, I wrote the same thing that you commented on, exactly the same. Just as like, don't you, I've said this on this show so many times already. Don't you ever get upset by this? Why does it not bother you in some way that you're like, I think you guys would agree, I'm a pretty even-tempered guy. But a few times a year when playing hockey, I'd be, I'd have a meltdown. Like, it's a tough sport. It's so that continues to floor me, that like, that we see that all year long, where it's just smiles and scrums and never getting involved and never getting mad. And then you get to these games and they go, it's just not there for us tonight. And you watch, most of these, a lot of them Canadian guys like, McDavid and McKinnon and those guys that just can't handle losing. And so I do get frustrated by that. Sam, I said on our show today, show me how it looks like to predict what's going to come next. What's it going to look like? It looked like beyond worst case scenario.
So I say this to people in the industry when I talk about one of the things I love about doing live radio, and especially the way that we do it, right? We do it all for a couple of hours a day. And I think that the beauty of radio is that you can't hide, right? Like, you can't hide. There's no edit button. There's no like going back and being like, hey, clip that out. Let's change that thing. There's no highlights that you're throwing to and being like, hey, let's just run off of reacting to these clips.
Let's play Led Zeppelin. Let's play Stairway to Heaven.
Right. Exactly. You're naked out there. and you get exposed if you're a fraud at it. And if you're somewhat of any quality, people will kind of find out fairly quickly, right?
Yeah.
This sport, you can't hide the care factor.
No.
You just can't. This is a sport of will. This is a sport of emotion. This is a sport of caring. You have to be able to temper it at times. You can't just be running out there like Max Domi tried to do in the second period, where he's like, here's what I'll do. I'll just do crazy stuff. I'll just go out there and try to get a fight from Tkachuk. And he's like, get out of here, man.
I
Like,
actually hated that he like tried to fight him. Like, of course he's not gonna, so you get to look like you're trying to do something. I hated that.
Yeah, I guess just where I'm long-windedly going with this is that I just can't be convinced that these guys care the way that other people do. Like, even I should have been warned. I read this clip on air today, but after the game, they asked Marner about the no shots, and he's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get pucks through traffic to get sticks. That's my game. And I'm like, that's your game, brother? Your game is no shots in 2 games against the Florida Panthers on the road. You're just like, that's who I am. Love it or leave it. You go, what are you talking about? You have to be better. Like, you want $13+ million this offseason. You are comparing yourself with the greats of this game, and you want that adulation from people, and you're satisfied with no shots, and you come into this game with a big old 1. He put up a 1 spot tonight, one that he filtered through and got it there.
I heard someone say you can't expect him to get shots. He plays the point on the power play. I was like, wait, what does that mean? Like, that's a great shooting spot.
Anyway, again, I've said this literally a million times where I'm like, prove me wrong. All you've ever done is prove me right. I just don't think you two care. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm done pretending like
hold on. The other option there, JD, is not that they don't care, but that they can't handle the pressure or they're scared.
Yeah, it's partially that.
I mean, all of the above, brother.
Yeah. I was going to say, Bourne, it's not. Sorry. I was going to say, I would like to rephrase. I didn't know there was, I'm like the Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, do some of y'all feel like human beings tonight? He's like, yeah. Do some of y'all feel like animals tonight? I did not know there was another option. That's me. I didn't know that we could add more things to the potpourri of what I think they don't have. Say what it is you don't think they have. I'll probably agree. Skill, yes. Will, no.
So we've had a lot of experience with post-game quotes over the years, and I'm numb to a lot of them, but Christian just put in the chat that Austin Matthews said after the game, I think everybody's got to look in the mirror, myself included. Is that part of the Mad Libs that they usually do after games? Has he ever said something like that?
I think that's actually about as much accountability that I've ever heard from him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like I remember him always just being like, we had our chances, but he would be blatantly
but it's tough to do that when you literally had no chance.
Yeah, they had their best chances were down 6-1. So, like, of course, Tanev, you beautiful boy. I'll take responsibility. I need to be better. I mean, I think he was -3 tonight, so maybe he's right. But like, of all the guys to be taking the accountability, my God. But yeah, it's just, it's hard to sit here and say that like professional athletes, like, oh, they don't care. But like, at what point do you have to can you have to believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point after all this do you have to start to believe that?
Again, out attempted 11-1 in the first period of this hockey game.
This is where it's all at for me, is that I, honest to God, and I think I've said this before too, am watching this thinking that like, we're going to hear something in like 10 years when they do a documentary, when it's like, oh, I was going through this at that time and no one knew why I couldn't play. Like, honestly, I feel like it's like, is Matthew struggling with something we don't know about, can't see? I only say that because we've seen him be so good, so otherworldly and dominant, that to not see it when he knows the stakes, these guys knew the stakes coming into tonight. They're not like, oh, is it big? So that to me, it's like, is there something wrong? Truly, like physically, mentally, some sort of.
Can I give you a theory that I was thinking about tonight in my abyss of thoughts?
Boy, it was a dark.
It was a dark
third period, boys. It was dark.
Yeah, it was. So again, I'm sitting there in front of the old television, just staring through the game, right? Like I'm not actually watching it. My eyes
are aimed at it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're
like,
seeing beyond.
if a person saw me through a window, they would go like, wow, that guy's
He's
like
watching the
really
game."
watching this game. But in actuality, all I was
That
doing
guy's
was
locked
like
in. Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
beaming through, like maybe trying to see what is inside of the wall, like through the TV, through the like all the wires, whatever. And I was thinking to myself about the Berube stuff, like how so much of his temperament is, hey, keep it calm, keep it stoic. Like maybe every once in a while I'll throw a piece of gum, right? And this isn't a Craig Berube blaming thing.
No.
But I wonder with these guys that the way that they tried to deal with all of the pressure, and I think it's like Matthews and Marner specifically. I just need to clarify once again that everything we're talking about is just these two. Okay. Like that's all we're doing right now.
Yes.
But with those two guys in particular, that the way that they tried to deal with the stress was by being like, hey, we're calm. Like we're calm. We're never going to show that emotion, because if like we show that emotion, we feel like other people are going to pick up on that emotion and view it as like a negative thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, people are going to see that they're getting to us. Oh, people are going to see that we're frustrated. No, what we need to do is be zen. What we need to do is be calm. What we need to do is play within ourselves and play our game and focus on the things we can control. And in actuality, I think in this sport and in professional sports in general, like, yeah, it's not just this one, it's all of them. Every once in a while, like Bourne, when you said it, is you need to have the outburst. You need to show that care. You need to show the nastiness. You need to spaz out once in a while. You need to take the personal accountability. You need to say something you regret. You need to do something you regret. And it's just like, I think that there's just too much collective trauma with these two. Like they're beaten down by the system. They're beaten down by the pressure of it. They never had the personalities for it. Maybe they did at the very beginning when it was like front runner times and it's yay, Washington, and Matthews is scoring a bunch of goals early. But as the pressure mounted year over year over year with these guys, that their only way to deal with it was to continue to disconnect. And that hurt them when it came to these moments where the product needed you to be like fully connected and fully engaged.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
It makes total sense. Total sense. It's something about this market makes it like increasingly, I don't know, you need to separate from all the noise and not create it. My one question and thought when I think about how all in we've gone on these two here is, are we not giving Florida enough credit?
Oh, they get a lot of credit. I love them. Like
they're so good.
Yeah. Like I hate them.
Of course.
But I love the way they play.
Yeah.
Like, so here's another one. It's like, you're watching these games tonight, and we've all agreed over the entirety of the season, right, that if you sign that Sam Bennett contract, it's probably going to be a nightmare, right? But I was thinking during this game, I'm like, how could anyone make the case watching this product thinking that you would give Mitch Marner anything close to like $13 million instead of paying Sam Bennett $9 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you're getting more for that 9 than the 0 you're getting for the 13.
Yeah, like that anyone would look at it and go, well, you have to re-sign Marner, because if you let him walk and then you sign Bennett to this bad contract, he's not going to live up to that number. And I'm going, have you ever watched Mitch Marner play in these games? Did you watch the third goal? Like maybe this is kind of where we can talk about that, but that is just such a regular season awful play. That blind pass turnover into Nowheresville breaks them out, and then he doesn't get back to cover the back door, and the puck goes in the net, and it's 3-0. And now it's like over.
Yeah,
and I thought, and again, when we're talking about, so to me, again, because there are 2 games, or potentially 2 games, sorry, but there's one, they've still got to lose one more game in order to have the legacy cemented. I got to be a little diligent with this, or diplomatic with this, and say, hey, but yeah, if they're one loss away from their legacy cemented. And if their legacies are cemented, that's the play I will remember Mitch Marner more for than any positive play that he ever made as a Toronto Maple Leaf, period.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty defining. There's no doubt that like, it's a pretty good microcosm of what has ailed the Leafs in these big games. But I mean, to go back to your Panthers thing, Bourne, you have to give them credit. They're really good, but the Leafs are supposed to be really good. And the Leafs have top end talent that's paid handsomely. That is amongst the highest paid in the league. And they are billed as really good players. So like you can give the Florida Panthers credit for a comprehensive ass whooping tonight from about 3 minutes into the game. I thought the Leafs had like a good 2 minutes to start the game.
I actually texted you guys at 3 minutes in. It was a good start.
And then it was from then on out a spanking.
Yeah.
You have to at some point be able to just push through, or like I said, go back to make it look like you want to get through these guys. Like you want, and there's just something to be said that maybe they're just not close to good enough to do that. And maybe they just don't have close the amount of dog in them to be able to get through this Florida Panthers team that may be the cup favorite. I don't know. But like the Panthers have to give credit. I 100% agree. But I don't think you can take away from what the lack of what the high paid stars in the Leafs have given you just because the Panthers have been unbelievable.
Yeah,
for sure. It's just like I think back to, us doing this show after they go up 2-0 in the series. And it's like, God, I know Florida's tough, but like the Leafs don't give up high danger chances. This is their defining characteristic.
Yeah.
And, the power play is pretty good. And, we run through this list of things. Here's why it is different. They do have some pushback. Their coach is calm, like you can see this world where it's good. And Florida looked at that. And I don't know if it's Maurice. I don't know if it's good pros. I don't know if what it is, but the Leafs 2 stars haven't had a sniff since they regrouped. And so part of me is like, in 10 years from now, are we going to look back at this and go, boy, we were pretty hard on them because that Florida team did that to everyone. It wasn't just them. But the Leafs have this history. These 2 have this history. I'm not trying to pardon them. I'm just looking at ways that I'm like going to regret how all in I've been on them here.
Yeah,
the Habs did it to them.
That this is the problem with when you choke all these other times, right? Is you lose the benefit of the doubt of your opponent. Because you're right. Like this isn't the Habs. This isn't, the Columbus Blue Jackets that are shutting these guys down. Like this is a top quality Stanley Cup contender team. But to Sam's point, this is who you're supposed to be at this point in the road.
Yes.
And to further it, as much as like, okay, was the goaltending amazing tonight? Like, I don't know, maybe not. It's hard to blame them. It's like,
Wall?
Like
the one you want back is the wrister from Mikkola to make it 4-0, but at that point,
but it's 4.
Like
That's what I mean. It was 4-0. Game was in hand, right? Like what's he gonna do on the tip with Lawton? What's he gonna do on the 2-on-1 breakout that Marner forces? What's he gonna do on the first one? Like it's just, that's, and on the first one, like this is the difference to me, is he's up against the Barkov line, Austin Matthews, right? What did we praise Matthews for last year when we were talking about, hey, he's a Selke guy? Who would have, if you were debating, would you rather have Austin Matthews or Alex Barkov? I think some people would have had it like in deep hockey circles, but to the average fan, they would have been like, what are you talking about? One guy scored 69 goals in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like it's a no-brainer. And those guys have gone up against each other. And what was the defining characteristic of that first period? It's that Sasha Barkov wins a puck battle against Austin Matthews in his own end, pulls the puck away from him, puts it in front of his net, and all of a sudden, bang, it's 1-0, and they get the first one. They cave them in. So the thing about the Leafs is that I do think that the blue line is better and that they've done a lot of good with this team. The stuff that Bourne, you and I, we thought, or the 3 of us talked about leading into this series, a lot of it is true. The sad thing is that you are built around the idea. And this is why I was getting so mad at people that were like, oh, well, Matthews, does he have to score if he's getting assists? Like if they're, winning the 5-on-5, the defining characteristic of the team is that they pay 4 forwards this much money.
Yeah.
And that they're supposed to be the difference maker, and they're not. And in fact, they hurt you tonight. That's as defining as it gets.
Yeah. And to look back on it, it doesn't work. Clearly. The 4
like, is that the bar? Like, oh, they're good against everybody, but the Panthers are really good. So I guess they're not expected to like Matthews has now played 10 games against these guys, doesn't have a goal. He's got 3 goals in 21 playoff games.
Nick Robertson has more goals against the Panthers in the playoffs than Austin Matthews does. And he's played 10 minutes against them. So
the most Nick Robertson goal.
Oh my God.
Of all time.
I actually, that was like a bit of levity for me.
Yeah,
like that happened. And I actually laughed.
I'm having fun now.
Oh my God. I was like, that's actually potentially the most hilarious thing that could ever happen. A spin around backhander from Nick Robertson to make it 6-1 in a playoff game. I mean, scratch and score worked. He got his wish there.
But I got to tell you, I did like that they scored it. Like I liked that it broke Bobrovsky. I didn't want to go into next game with Bobrovsky has 186 straight minutes of I'm gonna go Nick.
I saw that take on Twitter when I posted scratch and score. Where do you think it actually has a tangible effect, or do you just mean it more so that it's like they don't have to hear it? I don't know.
Not a
Yeah.
storyline. I don't want to hear the storyline. No, I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
at all. Doesn't matter at all.
Because I have a confession to make.
Yes.
And this is a dark confession that
Confess away, brother.
I don't like to admit. That when the Leafs were down 6-0 and they threw their first unit out on the power play.
Oh my God. I almost threw my remote through the TV. I couldn't believe they did that. Truly.
I was rooting against them to score. Like I didn't want it. I didn't want like that
dark.
to be the way.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't have it where it's like revisionist history, like with James Harden's points, right? Where we're like, oh, James Harden had a good career. I'm like, no, I was there. I watched it.
Yeah.
I
It sucked.
witnessed this. Yes.
Like I
witnessed it.
refuse.
But
Yes.
I couldn't have it.
Yeah.
So
Go
you're
back
happy with Nick
through.
Robertson?
I think if
Yes.
you went back through some of these Marner Matthews points from the first round, I don't like that they get to eat off the totals all that much is all I'll say.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they got those first couple games, they were red hot. Oh boy, those first couple games. We were so much more innocent then. They're
God,
just
the first two games
simpler
against Florida
times.
even.
That's what I
Like,
mean. Listen, but to give you credit, Bunk, when after game 3, the Friday night, you and me, just the Mud Boys with Big Fancy Bourne on TV, you and me had a detailed discussion about regret and about all the little things in that game that the mistakes and the soft goals that Wall let in and, the bounce and overtime. And I bristled a little bit at like the regret and like, oh, they're still up 2-1 in the series. They're still up 2-1 in the series. That was it. Like that Morgan Riley wrister down the left wing that went off the post and up as opposed to post and down. It's just like that will be. They blow two goal leads in that game. Like that to me will be the real game that you look back on. Because listen, could they win this series? Sure. And everybody on Leafs Talk watching this, like I don't think any single person that's watching this, unless you are a psychopath, believes that they're going to win this series. Like, could they?
You know what'd
Sure.
be crazy?
But who believes they're going to win a game at home against the Florida Panthers? Like the way that just looked with even more pressure.
This is a part of the storyline regardless now. Like if they won 2 games and went on and they got Carolina and they got a chance to win a Stanley Cup, we'll still be going. We've seen how the Stars look in the big games. It's going to be a story the rest of the way now. Unfortunately,
It's the second round.
Can I say one thing about the pressure point though that you just made? This is actually my one, again, during the abyss time thought. During the abyss, staring through the television.
The mud abyss, just
Oh,
wading through it.
When I was staring through the abyss, I thought to myself, now they're dead, right? Like everybody sees them as dead, but they're not dead. But it's like, there's pre-grieving happening.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that takes a little bit of the pressure off of these guys who don't do well with the pressure. Like weirdly, it's like, you've already,
buddy,
you thought yourself in a
so
knot
hard,
here,
man.
brother.
I know I have. I'm not saying these are all good points.
Get the twister board out, buddy. You're twisting right now.
I'm just telling you that in the abyss, I did think of like, you are now in the spot where it's like, nobody believes in you.
Yeah.
And that's an enviable place to be throughout the history of sports. Is like
2 to 4 strained frontal lobe.
Yeah. Like nobody believes in you. So that's where I'm at with this. Is like, is this their like Red Sox? Is this their Red Sox 2004 moment where they just get a Kevin Millar, right? They just need one Kevin Millar to go up to a guy like me, because it was Shaughnessy who called them frauds.
Yeah.
Right. He's a pack of frauds. And we just need one of those Leafs to come up to me and go, you think we're chokers, eh? You think we don't care? We don't care? All right, don't let us win game 6. Don't let us win game 6 and then win game 6. And it's like the pressure's off kind of thing. Anyway, again,
they come home and they piss down their leg in game 7.
Yeah, obviously that's what I think is going to happen.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying that is like the actual most optimistic I could get to myself, which was like, there's actually some pressure off the fact that like this game was like, oh, you got to get it done. You got to get the split. You got to get this. And now it's kind of like, we're dead losers. Like maybe Get a bounce.
Can I say
Gordon, you look like you're buying this a little bit.
I am,
more than Sam.
buddy. I am eating it up. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Like we're at what, the 25-minute mark of this talk where we've just been like eulogizing. I like the thought. I really do.
I gotta say, RIP to anybody that tries to be positive, because they're just gonna get slashed by the angers right now. Like if you're within your friends or you're someone on Twitter, like, come on, guys. Yeah, exactly. They can tell, hey, it's not over till it's over. You're getting killed.
Myrtle sent a tweet. Did you see that? That he said there were some guys trying to start a chant Leafs in 7 at Scotiabank Arena tonight.
God bless you.
Honestly, bless your heart.
God
bless your heart. That is the true. I like to believe in myself as like a true Blue Leaf fan who's like been through the ups and downs and been with it. I just could never get there. It's amazing that you could get there.
Oh, I would have been. I'm not kidding. I tweeted this. So like when it was, I think it was 3-0. It wasn't even 4-0. I was like 3-0. After the Marner play, I tweeted, if I wasn't doing Leafs talk, I would be in bed. This game's off. I'd be throwing on. I'm watching a show called Dark Winds. I think it is. Good show. So it's
actually hilarious. I got in my group chat with a bunch of guys I'm in. There's a big, like the inside joke is Mobland. So like as soon as it's a blowout, someone just types Mobland.
Yeah.
And it was a Mobland night tonight. Like I would have been out of there.
But I do think that all of this is really shaping up for an interesting, unique fan reaction, because Bunk, your point about pre-grieving, it's like when you've had like a loved one diagnosed with something terminal and they don't, they live for 3 more months, and you've sort of done some of the mourning by the time the time comes, and like when they go in their sleep on Friday night, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like the shock and the hurt and the whatever is not going to be as present. It's just going to be people ready to turn the page.
So
you've already been making the funeral arrangements. Like you've already got the headstone. Like, you've at least thought about what the eulogy is going to look like a little bit. Like you're prepared. You've done a lot of the crying.
I've got 2 things here. Craig Berube, quote here. It's just disappointing for all of us here, the way we came out in the first period and the way we played. That's the biggest thing to take away from that whole game. I actually totally agree. That's all you need to be said. Like, that's it. It's just like the way you start that game just says everything about you. Right?
Can I say something about that though?
Yeah.
Why didn't he shuffle the lines to start the second period?
Totally agree.
Yeah, he didn't do it soon enough.
Like if you're Mr. the disappointing thing is the start, it's like you should have seen 2 shifts of 34 and 16 and been like,
that's over.
And that's the end of that chapter.
As soon as they gave up that goal, I would not have played them together for the rest of the night.
No question. No question. Like, and then even when he was shuffling around the lines, he's like, he flipped Pacioretty and Nyes, and I'm going, wait, your thought here is to go with Marner and Matthews still? And then it was like just desperate stuff that didn't make any sense. It was like now Matthews is on the wing. Like I was like, there's no actual.
How would you go to Lawton with a good player? The guy that's like out
Lawton
there
rung the one off the post at 1-0. That was a heartbreaker.
That would have been a really tough 6-2 loss tonight for the Leafs if that one had gone in. Here's what I'll say. I'm looking at game 6 here, and we're talking about I mentioned this a little bit at the start. I think we are on quit watch, on Cabo watch early in that game. If the Leafs go down early in that game, like I said, with the pending free agents and all the stuff that's happening around this team, they all know the pressure, the front office, this goes up to the president. This is like this game, like the things that could be different if they lose on Friday night. And I got my eye on quit watch on Friday night if they go down early. That for me, like that goes in the face of your theory about maybe
man, listen, like I'm not discounting anything with these guys at this point. Like if they quit like they did tonight, like what am I going to be shocked?
No.
But Bourne, like to the point about not splitting up the lines, is this the flaw in the Berube ointment where it's like you're so stoic you're asleep?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think so, Bunk, where it's like we're not overreacting. Dance are the ones who brought you. There's not a lot of games and periods and all that to make adjustment in the playoffs. And it seems like Maurice was like, Kate didn't like that. My whole 4th line is different next game. Like no problem flipping on the wings on the top 2 lines. We got to try something else. And it felt like yeah, give him credit for changing, adding 2 guys to the lineup, taking a different 2 guys out, but it was really obvious, really early that we needed to see something different. I felt almost like he gave up on the Matthews Marner line by giving him Pacioretty. It's like, let's just try to load up the Nylander line and see if they can get us one, get us started. Because it's almost like a punt on that group at that point. But yeah, break them up.
Why? Just why do they always stay together? Multiple coaches, and I know Keefe tried to change it up here and there, but he ultimately ended up going back to it whenever it got it's just such a security blanket. What is it? Just because I know they're good together and they've had great moments. Too. Pardon?
It all ties in with the theory that I had earlier of these guys do not deal with the market pressures well. They do not like the narratives. They clearly want to play together. They have too much control within the organization.
Yes.
And they are too self-satisfied with the results. That's what I was saying earlier about Marner going that's my game. I think he really does. It's not a lie if you believe it. He's going to the media saying hey, my job is to get sticks to the net and Matthews and Nyes tip it home. I'm not supposed to just take over and drive one and shoot one in the top corner. It's that's not my game.
Spend the whole year listening to he's the engine, he's the driver. Yeah. It's guy couldn't drive a go-kart.
The only thing I care about him driving is the moving truck out of town.
The engine on the way in the car on the way to the airport is great. Working awesome.
This sucks.
I know.
Sorry.
It does suck. I was trying to have fun. It does suck.
I'm
suck so bad.
Sour.
Yeah, man. It does suck. It's just, God, I think we kind of hit it there. We just kind of hit the wall.
I got nothing else.
Let me look through to just make sure there's no rapid fire stuff here.
Matt Murray played a game in playoffs for the Leafs this year.
Yeah.
Made a great save when they had that power play. He made one great save, kind of corralled it. I was like, ooh, maybe Matt Murray game 6. Looked pretty sharp in there. Bang! Yeah. Bar down over his shoulder before he even reacts. I'm like, oh, maybe not game 6.
Yeah, they came out a commercial in the third period showing Stolarz making saves on wristers in the high blocker. I was like, oh, he's going in game 6. You're seeing Stolarz. Bet the farm on it.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to that. And that was one of the what ifs that I was really thinking about tonight is I'm like, is this series different with Stolarz? Because game 3, right? And I'm really thinking about that. Well, just Nylander had his chances on the breakaway. That's all I kind of had. Those breakaway chances, the camp or the Lawton post. Them generating line. Pacioretty had an opportunity. There was this one little brief moment where they actually got their opportunities, and it was all from guys that weren't. Yeah, it was all from guys that weren't 16 and 34, and they didn't get it. And it's again, that's why you need your superstars. Anyway,
Benoit somehow missed the net by 5 feet from 2 feet in front of the net. Not sure how that
Camp was Adam Oates for one brief moment.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
good stuff. Fun.
Fun. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at JT Bourne, at Sammy McKee. I took a peek at my DMs on Instagram during the second intermission. It's there's a lot of work. Let's probably get to
I apologize to everyone. I ain't reading all that.
I'm sorry that happened, or I'm happy for you.
I hope you left a lot of the I'll try to get to them. Although I have started a new rule where it's I'm not replying to the non-followers anymore. I just can't do it.
I love that move.
It's there's too many, and I've just noticed it. I was I'm trying because I try my best to interact, and people take the time, and it means a lot to me. But the non-followers, totally I gotta trim some of the fat here, and that's the fat that's getting the trimmed. Subscribe to this podcast on Apple and on Spotify, and I'll see it. You guys had Blake Wheeler today. I have him tomorrow. I'm very excited. Nice. Although
he's really good.
He's got it. He's really got it.
Yeah.
But I'll be what's it like to be on teams that disappoint?
Ask him about his boy Hellebuck. Hopefully he's not listening. All right, let's go.
No, I know. It's all right. See you guys tomorrow.
See ya.